So another day of rain. It has rained every other day for the last week, and it's supposed to do it again. So we get another day off of rain, and then the next day is actually a higher chance of rain than it was today. Today it was 60% chance of rain, and it rained. Next time, let's see, that'll be Sunday. This is Friday, so it's supposed to be a 90% on Sunday. Just can't get anything done. It's just constantly saturated. I mean, I could get the lawnmower out and probably cut the grass, but it would be rough on the lawnmower, and I'd tear up the yard. Of course, I got the chains, so I wouldn't get stuck, you know, the tire chains, so I wouldn't get stuck. So in the morning, I get up at 5 o'clock, and I come down, I check to make sure I got enough energy in the batteries to get me to about 7 o'clock. That's when the sun comes up, because I got to turn on the computer. And the computer, when I'm processing videos, it takes quite a bit of energy from the battery. So I just want to make sure I'm around 12.4 volts when I get up in the morning. If it's below that, I go ahead and start the generator for about a half hour just to make sure I got enough battery to get to sunrise. It's not that big of a deal, but anyway, that's what I do. I think I'll get one more battery before winter, and then I won't have to worry about it at all. So, and then I go and I open up the door to the chicken coop. That way the chickens can come out on their own. Well, occasionally it's kind of spooky out here. I got that little headlamp on my head, you know, it's a flashlight on your head. And walk down the hill and you'll see eyes reflecting back at you. And twice now I've seen them here. So this morning they were standing right next to the compost pile. Well, I come to the camper to check the battery. So I walked pretty slow. Now it was obvious they were watching me, but they didn't run off. Yeah, there's their deer tracks here. I got all the way down to the camper, went inside, and they were staring at me. Of course, I'm walking fairly slow. I didn't want to scare them off. The other thing I don't want to do is I don't want them darting across the road. About that time, a lot of traffic comes through because a lot of people are going to work. People drive through here around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, quite heavily. And then it dies off, and then you get a car every half hour or so. Well, I don't want those deer jumping across the road and one of those drivers hit the deer. Not only would it be bad for the driver, it'd be bad for the deer. So I try not to scare them where they're darting. I would rather them slowly walk so everybody can see them. So that's what happened this morning. I came out of the camper and they just kind of walked off across the road. I gotta get things done. I gotta get the grass cut. It's just growing up so thick. Nobody around here is cutting grass. Nobody. Usually the week of the roar of the mower, and not this time, but right here where the chicken compost is running off, I said this yesterday, it's just getting so thick. So I don't know, we'll get it all sorted out eventually, but I went ahead and I flushed out the well today. The well is, obviously, I've said this many times, yeah, it gets dirty with the rainwater, the heavy rainwater this time of the year. Last year, I don't think it rained this hard or this much. Now, the year before last, it did, because we set the camper down. That was in March 1st, we set the camper down off the truck. So we brought the truck down here. It's the only time the truck's been down here. This little spot over here was just sinking muddy. I guess it is now too. Yeah, I wouldn't drive that. And so the thing you'd have to remember, and the coop wasn't here obviously, but there was I guess a chicken coop right here. We've taken all this out. So the only way out was that little path down there. So it was quite the challenge to get the truck up here. I didn't get stuck. So I just, once we dried out for a couple days, I had Carolyn sit in the back of the truck and I just floored it up the hill. I didn't stop. I was just determined. And of course the weeds were so thick back then, and the sticky bushes, so I got all kinds of streaks, kind of like scratches, or I mean, it all can be buffed out. You can buff it out with your finger. But well, like these right here, all this was growing up, and all that scratched the truck. But we got the truck out. So it was really bad that year. Of course, we had to walk down all the time to the camper. That's where we were staying. And Carolyn, it was just a mess for her. I felt so bad for her, slipping and sliding. She just real struggled with it. But now we're up there, it's not so bad. But last year, I don't remember it being this bad. And I know this because I didn't have the lawnmower yet, the riding mower. I had the push mower. And there was a couple cuttings before we got the riding mower. Here it is mid-April. I cut this spot right here in front of the chicken coop once. I've told you that. But since then, I haven't touched it. There's no way I would have been able to push mow this thick. So it tells me that it didn't rain as much last year. I just don't remember it being this soppy wet all the time. So somebody asked me to take you down into the woods and show you the green that's starting to grow. And so there's Carolyn's purple tree. She loves that. I don't know what that is. The problem is, I don't know if you can see it, but right up there, that tree has broke. It broke the year we were here. The first year we were here, it broke in a storm. But it still blooms every year, so I just let it go because Carolyn likes it. I tied a bag to the bottom of it, grocery bag, just so I know not to cut it. I've tried to get that piece of deadfall off of it several times. I got a come along now, so I might just get that come along out and try to pull it out of there. I probably could do that now. I didn't think about that until just now. Now I got that come along. But I don't know what I can do to save that tree. It keeps blooming. If things are greening up, of course the trees aren't, but the ground is. We got these little trees here that are blooming out. And it happens pretty quick. It's kind of amazing how fast it happens. This is the path that I cut out so we can walk down into the woods. It's starting to grow up with grass. Now, usually this was weeds, but last year I cut all this down. So now we got grass here. Now, one of the indicators that I can tell the well is going to struggle is when this has water in this sort of little runoff creek. If it's got water in it, I know that we're going to have problems with the well. And it's been full, or has had water in it since the first rain started this spring. We had the snow. We had 3 weeks of snow. It snowed every, like Thursday for 3 weeks straight. So things were already kind of saturated with all the snow we got. And then the next week it rained and it hasn't stopped. We get rain about every other day, which is a real struggle with the well because I need 2 days of it to dry out after the rain. So this morning I got up at 6 o'clock. I drained it, and I drained it again like a half hour later, and then drained it again like a half hour later. And it just started raining right at the moment I started filling the tank. So the water was clean. I forget what these are called, mayberries, appleberries. They're starting to bloom right here. And I've been told all my life, if you see those, there should be mushrooms around. Well, I don't know if you can see them, but they're everywhere right in this patch. So I don't see any ash trees on this property. The only ash tree we had was surrounded by a bunch of cedar trees, but ash trees are supposed to have mushrooms around it. And I don't think we have any ash here. Of course, everybody says something different. I always thought it was ash, and then somebody will say, no, it's oak, and somebody will say, no, it's walnut. I don't think walnut, because walnut's poisonous to most plant life. So that's all popping up. We'll come back out in a few weeks, probably mid-May, and those will be all sprouted up real pretty like. So I guess we're coming into mushroom season. It froze the other day, what, 2 days ago? So we may not. It's just been a strange spring in my mind. It gets kind of cold. I ran the wood stove, I guess 2 nights ago. Last night it only got down to 50 degrees. I wish it would make up on its mind what it's going to do. I've been having to run propane because it just gets too hot with the wood stove in the house. So I run propane for a few hours in the morning. Last night it got chilly, and I'm worried about the chicks. We just got those chicks that hatched the other day. And I want to make sure that they stay warm enough. Of course, I put a hot water bottle in there. I put one before I go to bed, about 9 o'clock, 9:30. Carolyn puts one in at midnight. I get up again at 2, put another one in. And then when I get up at 5, I put another one in. Well, last night, I guess around 3 o'clock, it got pretty chilly in the house. So I turned the propane heater on low. And I think Carolyn got up about 4 and she shut it off. It's just using a lot of propane. Like I said yesterday, I called the place and they're still selling propane for $14, 20-pound tank. So we're gonna go get some of that on Tuesday. I got 6 tanks I need to fill up. But here we got lots of greenery here. Kind of get an overall view of it all now that you can stand back and look at it. It's really nice, but it's starting to green up. I've come down here in the past in this well, late spring, after the canopy is all grown up, all the leaves are on the trees, and the sun kind of peeks through every now and then. It is absolutely beautiful. We'll come back down. Of course, it's a little bit more dangerous to come back down mid-May. Just yesterday I saw a snake. It was really cold for snakes. I would have expected a snake maybe today. It's in the mid-60s. Of course, there's no sunshine for it to go look for, but yesterday it was pretty sunny. So my guess is he came out to find some sunshine. As the snakes come out, it's harder to walk around in here. So what I've been doing, last year I brought you down here with the lawnmower a few times. That way the snakes aren't trying to bite me. They can bite the lawnmower. I don't know, some people really enjoy the walk in the woods. Other people don't. They say that's boring, why don't you go do something? But this is part of the life. Just taking a step back and saying, you know what? This is nice. So I try to take you out here every few months or so. Took you out here in the snow one time. Last year, we had an ice storm and all the trees were covered in ice. All the limbs were sagging, and I brought you out here. I was a little scared because I kept hearing trees crack all over the place. So I got out of quite the hurry, but you got to see that. So people like it. I mean, there's a lot of folks that have to live in the city and don't get to enjoy the woods. I get to bring you out here in the woods. We really enjoy this place. It's quite relaxing. Every season is really nice. I would say the hardest season that we have to live is the spring months. So there's your walk in the woods. If you can click on this up next box, I'd really appreciate it. Take it over my other channel. So I hope I can inspire you to enjoy the walk in the woods when you're living your dream. Thanks for watching.